Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrickster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go Battle League battles. But before we jump into those battles, let's look at these moveset updates. Welcome everyone to Season 8 of Go Battle League. They have added the move Feather Dance, Weather Ball Rock, and they have buffed a lot of the poison moves in addition to Dragon Tail and Focus Blast. So, Feather Dance is currently only learned by Pidgeot, and I mean, that's fine because Feather Dance is it's pretty strong. It might be a little bit too strong right now. 45 energy and 35 damage. That is as much energy and as much damage as like X Scissor, the bug move, but this has a 100% chance to debuff your opponent's attack by 2 stages. So it just completely neuters, anything that would switch into Pidgeot if it can just throw a Feather Dance before switching out. And I mean, Feather Dance is so strong that Pidgeot can beat Galarian Stunfisk in the 2-shield, going straight Feather Dance. That's what everybody's raving about. Not that that would ever happen. No G-Fisk would or should ever shield against a Pidgeot. Just take the Feather Dance damage, because G-Fisk will win even if it burns 0 shields and Pidgeot burns 1. Pidgeot has to burn 2, and then once Pidgeot's used 2, it wins the matchup where the G-Fisk burns 0 shields or 2 shields. So as for the G-Fisk users, just it's not the end of the world. It's just Pidgeot would be able to force switch advantage in that situation. Weather Ball Rock has been added, and the only thing that learned that as of the time that they released it was Hippowdon. They have since changed normal cast form's normal Weather Ball to be Rock Weather Ball, which is a minor improvement for cast form, I would say, overall. Acid Spray has had its energy cost reduced by 5. That's not like a ton, but because it works in conjunction with things using Poison Jab, which now does more damage, or Poison Sting, which now gains more energy, suddenly Acid Spray is kind of useful because it, Poison Jab will do even more damage with its buff damage after Acid Spray has nerfed your opponent's defense. And Poison Sting just means that it gets to the Acid Spray that much faster. With its energy now being 9 per Poison Sting as opposed to 8, it saves you an entire Poison Sting. You get to the Acid Spray one faster. It only takes 5. Cross Poison has had its damage move from 45? Can't even see this. 45 to 50. Oh, from 40 to 50. Sorry. That's slightly better. Cross Poison still isn't an amazing move. And Poison Sting has had a debuff added to debuff your opponent's defense by 1 stage. So, all in all, it's a lot of buffs to Poison. I'm totally in favor of this. A lot of people seem to think that Charm needed to be nerfed. I don't think that Charm was too strong. Charm, for what it's worth, is the only thing that really stops dragons from being too strong, because Dragon resists fire, water, electric, grass. It has so many resistances. Its damage is resisted by so few things. Without Fairy, Dragon is just too strong. So I'm not really much of a charmer myself, but I've never been of the opinion that Charm needed to be nerfed, just because it keeps Dragon in check, and we don't need that getting out of control. So I think buffing Poison instead is a great solution, because Poison can have a lot more play, and it's just been so underutilized as a typing because of its myriad of weaknesses and just not having a good availability of decent moves. So also changed. Dragon Tail has had its attack has had its damage buffed and its energy generation decreased slightly. So it now does the same amount. Well, it generates energy at the same rate that Dragon Breath does, but does like very slightly more damage per turn. If you're able to sneak in moves with it, then it can be really helpful. Otherwise, some people would probably still prefer the control of Dragon Breath. The main thing that buffing Dragon Tail does is it gives Pokemon like Lugia and, Arbok a fast move that's a little bit more usable, because it's a fast move that's basically now on par with Dragon Breath. You can think of them as being nearly interchangeable. And Focus Blast has its damage moved from 140 back up to 150 where it was before it was nerfed at the start of Season 7. I guess they wanted to make Registeel great again or something. So, new moves thrown into Ariados now learns Lunge. It also knows Cross Poison, and I am going to experiment a little bit with that in the upcoming video, or in the upcoming battles. Weather Ball Rock was given to Hippowdon. Poison Fang added to Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is now really strong. Pidgeot we covered, and Crobat, which I never bothered to build myself, gets Poison Fang and Cross Poison. Again, Cross Poison, not an amazing meta-changing move. It's just been moved from totally unusable to not that useful. But yeah, let's hop into some of these battles. So, I tried out a multitude of teams. I'm doing 3 battles with each team. This first team is Pidgeot with Nidoqueen. It's non-Shadow Nidoqueen. I just don't have a good enough Shadow Nidoqueen. And I open up into Stunfisk, which is not fantastic for Pidgeot, despite what some people on Twitter would have you believe. I switch into my own G-Fisk to catch this Rock Slide and actually manage to make that catch. This is all taking place, reminder, at the beginning of the season. So there is I guess, how would I say this? Battlers have not yet stratified really into rankings. Everyone is kind of still clustered together. So I'm getting opponents of kind of random skill sets. But I have cherry-picked all of these games to try to highlight the Pokemon that we're really interested in looking at, which are the ones that have new moves or buffed moves. So, obviously, Stunfisk is going to lose this matchup with Venusaur. Really good counting on my opponent's part. He gets to the Frenzy Plant. He throws the Frenzy Plant right before I get to my Rock Slide, but wasn't quite able to get enough energy to throw something before Pidgeot was able to gust down. And then I switch Nidoqueen into Stunfisk, because what I'm trying to do is, at the very least, if my Pidgeot is going to, and if my opponent manages to maintain alignment and my Pidgeot's going to be stuck against G-Fisk, I obviously need to have a bunch of shields left over, because that's what you need to be able to to beat G-Fisk with Pidgeot. So, going straight Poison Sting with Nidoqueen. Poison Sting is a pretty decent move now. It does decent damage, Poison Fang, especially because of the way it automatically debuffs. Honestly, I think Poison Sting might be doing a little bit too much damage, considering that it's a 100% debuff move. Other moves that are like 100% debuff really don't do that much, with the exception of Icy Wind. Most of them are like Power Up Punch, which does basically no damage, only buffs your attack. Or Acid Spray, which does like no damage, it just drops the opponent's defense by 2 stages. But yeah, while the moves are strong, I guess we should probably all learn to take advantage of that. This is not a good meta to be running Azu, by the way. I'm not sure how many of them I even encounter in these matches. But yeah, like you're supposed to. I am just going straight Feather Dance on this G-Fisk, and now that it's been debuffed twice, its Rock Slide does that, which is not enough. It's basically nothing, and Pidgeot manages to take that game. All right. Same team. Pidgeot into Medicham. This is a much better lead, obviously. Throw 1 gust. My opponent switches out to Stunfisk. I stay in, throw a few more gusts first. I was trying to switch out and catch, but I did not time that out very well at all. So I am forced to shield this Rock Slide. I'm going to throw this Feather Dance before switching out myself. Oh, excuse me. Whole point of throwing this Feather Dance first is I want to be able to survive the Earthquake on Stunfisk, no problem. So managed to catch this Rock Slide. That's a fantastic start. And I'm just going to build up to and go straight Earthquake. I really don't need my opponent shielding, or no shielding Rock Slide. I'm already not in an amazing position anymore, just because I wasn't able to switch out of Pidgeot on time, and because I really don't have a direct response to Stunfisk. Which is unfortunate, because I encountered it 2 battles in a row. But I'm going to no shield here also. Even if it's the Earthquake, because I debuffed this attack, it just doesn't do that much damage. And here I'm throwing the Rock Slide to maintain some energy and do not that much damage, just to stall out the switch clock. But realistically, I probably should have just thrown the Earthquake. I mean, Pidgeot is going to chunk down this Medicham, but not that fast. And I also should have shielded this Ice Punch. But new to these matchups, I don't have an amazing feel for these Pokemon. I'm not the type to run Sims at all. PV Poke is an amazing resource for some people, but I just don't. I don't know. It's never been the kind of thing that I felt that I could sit down for 2 hours and try to learn all the matchups. A lot easier for me to just throw Pokemon in and feel it out. My opponent sends out Sableye, which is fantastic. I mean, I am going to straight Brave Bird this thing. It will one-shot, and now I'm going to switch out to clear my debuff. Still have 3 Pokemon. As long as Pidgeot can come back in and debuff his attack, wouldn't have to worry about anything. But since I had residual energy and his Stunfisk was energy dry, able to reach the Earthquake first, and I managed to take that game 2. GG. All right. Shouldn't call it game 2. It's really not. These are just battles picked in any random order. I think I did a full set with each of these and just tried to pick games that at least highlighted the strengths and weaknesses of the Pokemon that we're using that have been altered. So, learned from my last matchup with Medicham, shielding the first Ice Punch and throwing this Feather Dance. I get a shield on my opponent, which is great. But if he no-shielded that, he wouldn't have been able to get to a second charge move, which is fine. I'm going to let this second Ice Punch through. Actually throws the Psychic. I don't know if... I guess that actually would have done slightly more damage, since he was only going to get out 1 move. Stunfisk comes out, and I just switch right away into my own Stunfisk, because there's not really any reason to Feather Dance, because really G-Fisk would end up building up a lot of energy, and then just switch out to clear his debuff. And I don't have an amazing... Again, I don't have a hard counter to G-Fisk in the back. I don't know why I end up highlighting all these games with G-Fisk. I have no specific answer to G-Fisk. But it's definitely the kind of thing you can work around. I don't run G-Fisk that much. I was not familiar with the G-Fisk into Jellicent matchup. So my thinking behind throwing these Rock Slides instead of Earthquake was just, let me just throw the Rock Slides before I get debuffed so they'll do more damage, because after I get debuffed it'll do less. Probably would have made a little more sense to just go with the Earthquake, but we also still have shields up. And if my opponent wants to try switching out, that would be fine with me, because it would clear G-Fisk. It would allow my G-Fisk to clear his debuff. Switches into Stunfisk and catches my Rock Slide, which is great play by my opponent. I actually switch out into my into Pidgeot just to throw this Feather Dance and debuff the opposing G-Fisk's attack. I'm not going to be able to survive this Rock Slide anyway, but I'm also not going to waste a shield here, because debuffing it a second time won't really help me that much. I just needed to debuff it once so that Nidoqueen would be able to survive an Earthquake. So, reach my Earth Power before G-Fisk throws his Earthquake. If this were to land, it would pretty much, I think it would nearly KO from that range. And I'm going to no-shield here because I already debuffed. The whole point of doing that was so I could survive that Earthquake, and I do. Unfortunately, now I am in Rock Slide range. I sneak in an extra Poison Jab, which is nice. I need that energy. Shielding this Rock Slide, I'm expecting my opponent to try to catch, and they do. Switched out just a little bit too early, though. So I'm going to switch G-Fisk in. They are going straight Bubble Beam again, and going to try to farm me down. I throw this Rock Slide right before I get KO'd, just so that, the other G-Fisk won't get a lot of farm. But honestly, none of that really matters. Because I have an Earth Power stored, I'm just going to throw this Earth Power. Obviously, Nidoqueen is going to win CMP against Stunfisk and manage to take that G-Fisk out. GG. That was a really long match. That was nuts. I don't know that I played that Jellicent matchup as well as I should have, but worked out in the end. All right. So, next team. Scrafty. Scrafty has always had Acid Spray, but since Acid Spray was always kind of bad, it was mostly a meme pick to run Acid Spray on it. It does allow you to do things like beat a Azumarill in the 2-shield, just going straight Acid Spray. Now that the Acid Spray does a ton of damage, it's just that the counter starts to add up when your defense has been dropped enough. So, gonna no-shield again against this Mandibuzz. I double resist Dark, so he cannot snarl me down. Gonna throw this Acid Spray. I'm trying to get my fast move timing done so that he doesn't sneak in a lot of extra moves and doesn't get a lot of free turn. Not quite able to take it out before it reaches its 3rd Aerial Ace, so I'm going to shield this Aerial Ace and just counter the rest of the way down, have some energy left to Acid Spray or Foul Play, whatever it is that comes out. Have to be careful when you're doing something like this because a single Charm would take Scrafty out from this range. So, it is their own Nidoqueen. I debuffed their defense and couldn't really switch out because that would cause them to be able to switch out and clear their debuff, and I want them to at least be a little bit stuck. So I send out my Quillfish, and I'm not too sure why they're staying in here. I'm just going to throw this Aqua Tail. It goes unshielded and does tremendous damage because their defense had already been debuffed twice. I'm going to shield this Earth Power, and they're letting me Poison Sting them the whole way down, which is not advisable. It's an Azumarill left over in the back, and I have no shields. But Quillfish is actually pretty strong against the Azumarill. I think it wins all even shield matchups. Maybe not, because Poison Sting, you know what? Poison Sting doesn't do enough damage. Poison Sting does like nothing in terms of damage. After 2 Acid Sprays with their defense dropped to the minimum it can possibly be dropped to, that is still the most damage that I can do. Gonna eat this move. That's no problem. Even the Hydro Pump doesn't quite take Quillfish out. Oh my gosh, Quillfish does win every even shield scenario. Never mind what I said before. Gonna throw this Acid Spray. It would KO if he let that through, and now I'm just gonna switch to Nidoqueen and Poison Jab the rest of the way down. GG. Managed to take out that Azu. I guess there was one. Not a friendly meta for Azu. I'll say that again. Alright. Scrafty into regular Unova Stunfisk. So Scrafty can definitely win this matchup also. At a time like this, I feel like Power Up Punch would honestly have been preferable. He switches into Medicham, and this is where Power Up Punch would not be preferable, because if I buffed myself and then I'd have to leave, it wouldn't really have done anything. And now I switch into Quillfish. Nidoqueen would also have been a fine choice. My opponent is going straight Power Up Punch, not even building up to a Psychic. So, I mean, that's fine with me. He's going to buff his attack, and I'm going to be... His defense has been dropped to the minimum at this point. Now I can just throw this Aqua Tail, and that'll take him out. Oh my god, that does so much after... I mean, it doesn't really do that much, but after the debuffs, I mean, oh my gosh. So, Stunfisk comes back out. I am going to throw this Aqua Tail. And because I snuck in that Poison Sting, I actually can shield this Discharge and then force them into another one. My Fast Move Denial is totally adequate. It doesn't sneak in an extra move. I am going to throw this Aqua Tail. And I'm not too sure why he's throwing Discharge. Could definitely just Mud Bomb from this range. Discharge does slightly more, but they're both super effective against Quillfish. Throwing this Aqua Tail, and because I'm sneaking in Poison Stings, I am outpacing and getting further ahead. And there's an Azumarill left over in the back. So I'm going to Acid Spray this, and I'm not in Bubble Down range, so I'm actually just going to stay in an Acid Spray again if he doesn't throw his Ice Beam right away. And my opponent is not trying to build up extra energy, so going to throw this Acid Spray, debuff again. Would actually have been able to reach a third one if he didn't throw here. So my opponent is forced to throw this Ice Beam, takes me out. And now I actually send in Scrafty just because, you know, I knew it was really close to another Ice Beam, and Ice Beam would do tremendous damage to Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen also, you know, can be set up into a much better position to take out this Stunfisk. I could survive a Mud Bomb from here, no problem at all. It is a Discharge again. I'm starting to wonder if it's running something like Muddy Water or something that is not the standard set. I would definitely recommend, if you're not a professional, to just use whatever the recommended set is, at least in the beginning, until you start to encounter, you know, until you start to get a really good feel for your team and have a really good reason to not run the recommended set. Like Scrafty, should probably still have Power Up Punch. Alright. My opponent switches out into Skarmory, which is devastating for my team. I have no answer to Skarmory on this team at all, actually. I mean, it's not going to sweep me, but it will beat everything. I knew it wasn't going to shield the first move, so I have some energy, so I'm going to shield here. This Skarmory isn't even really low enough. I'm forced to throw the Poison Fang here before I even reach the Earth Power, so if I don't get a shield here, this would be terrible. Thankfully, I do. And I'm even able to sneak in an extra Poison Sting, which actually doesn't matter because it won't register. He throws a Sky Attack. But since I have debuffed this attack, I'm able to come in with Scrafty and counter this thing down before it's able to reach an extra Sky Attack. Not in an amazing position here, and I switch into Quillfish, and there's a Shift Tree in the back. So, I'm going to throw this Acid Spray. Poison Sting does not do that much damage, but I mean, you know, with his defense drop so much and Shift Tree being so squishy, it actually does kind of do something here. Able to eat this first Leaf Blade because it hits Quillfish for neutral, being that I'm poison and water. And throw this Aqua Tail on this double debuffed Shiftry and manage to take it out. GG. Oh wait, sorry, not GG. GG for the Shiftry. So Azu takes me out with his Ice Beam, and I'm really not out of the woods here. I'm going to throw this Acid Spray. My opponent no shields, so I'm not even really in a position where I can just foul play yet. Anyway, I'm going to shield this first move. It is the Ice Beam again, so now he's... But Ice Beam wouldn't KO from this range, so my opponent's going to have to reach either a Play Rough or a Hydro Pump. I don't know what he has. Throw this Acid Spray, and I get the last shield. And oh my gosh, he's so close to that, but I get to this Acid Spray just as he's getting to the Play Rough. If he has Hydro, then I guess I was safe. But otherwise, really close game. We'll never know. Alright. Next team. Froslass in the lead. I wanted to try Froslass in the lead because I figured... I mean, I know all of the streamers, at least, are running like mass poison, and a lot of content creators are using poison a lot. And Pidgeot also is really strong. People seem to be getting a lot of use out of that. I figured Froslass would win a bunch of leads. It's, I don't know that it did. But that's alright. I'm going to run through with this team anyway. Skarmory was giving me so many problems, I figured I'd give it a shot. It seems like other people are not just trying out the new things just to try out the new things. So, yeah, I didn't find amazing matchups for Skarmory. I guess the meta hasn't really shifted as much as a lot of people probably expected it would. Just I was not seeing as much poison as I was expecting to see. I don't know why no one is using poison. Poison's so strong right now. Anyway, I get the last shield off of this Swampert, and at this point I'm just going to let myself go down. After all, I am mostly trying to get some interesting use out of this Ariados. I throw my Avalanche right before he gets to his next Hydro Cannon, because I definitely don't want to eat that if I don't have to. And now I'm just insta-switching to Ariados. I thought I was going to be able to catch a foul play or something. It didn't quite happen. And my opponent has a Venusaur left over in the back. I missed some bubbles, which is embarrassing. And I debuff his attack with Lunge. Now that Ariados has Lunge, I feel like Ariados actually has a lot of play. The Sludge Bomb is single resisted and does not do anything. But Frenzy Plant would be double resisted and would do even less than that. I throw this second Lunge. And yeah, managed to take out this Venusaur. Umbreon comes out. Since I am debuffing with this Ariados, I am going to shield the first thing. It is a Last Resort. I don't know if Last Resort would have just barely taken me out. I guess it would have done a little bit more damage, so I can understand why my opponent wanted to throw that. But now I have thrown my first Lunge. Was trying to get his foul play off before I debuffed him, but didn't quite make it. I reach my next Lunge, and oh my gosh, this Umbreon's attack has been dropped so much at this point. Not quite able to reach the Cross Poison to take him out, so I switch into Froslass to catch the foul play, just because I don't want my beloved Spider to faint. And yeah, Powder Snow down the Umbreon. Managed to take that game. GG. Alright. Next battle. Froslass into Vigoroth. So this is, we're all very familiar with this matchup. Froslass has a fantastic matchup against Vigoroth. The Bulldoze kind of hurts, but it takes a Bulldoze plus all of the counters, and you still have to land a Body Slam, and you have to have shielded the the Avalanches in that time. So really, really not a great matchup for Vigoroth. My opponent switches out to Ninetales and eats a Shadow Ball, and thank goodness, because, you know, in retrospect, I'm looking at this team, I have no answer to Fire. I mean, who's running Fire? I mean, really. Pretty sure it's only this guy. Only this one guy is running Fire. I did not encounter another Ninetales the entire day. That's alright. I lost CMP with my Spider, and yeah, tried to undercharge the Cross Poison, maybe get a Poison Sting in, but didn't happen. And now Vigoroth comes back out, and that's fine. Gonna throw this Body Slam, and now Vigoroth is Energy Dry again. So, come back in with Froslass. He's throwing this way too early to be a Bulldoze, and I don't even have any shields. I'm not too sure why he's throwing this. But I'm going to throw my Avalanche. Probably get the last shield. I'm really not in a fantastic place in this matchup. And I mean, I was prepared to try to switch out to Skarm to catch a Bulldoze, but he keeps throwing the body slams before he gets there. And a Politoed comes out, so that's cool. I mean, I like Shadow Politoed. Gonna throw this Shadow Ball. It does quite a lot, but not enough. I try to switch out to Skarmory to catch the Weather Ball. My opponent doesn't even bother throwing it yet. I guess we figured I was going to try to make a catch and was building up to more energy. Throws that Weather Ball. It does quite a lot, but Skarmory is so tanky. Vig comes back out. I'm just going to throw this Sky Attack. It does not quite enough to take him out, but I can just Air Slash down from this range. And yeah, I should take that game. GG. I have no idea why Vigoroth didn't Bulldoze me. Alright, next up against Ariados. Froslass into Azumarill. This is an okay matchup for Froslass, but I switch out right away. Just to kind of get Ariados into the game, and yeah, he responds by sending out a Pidgeot, which is a pretty strong Ariados counter. I debuff his attack once, and now I'm going to throw a second lunge and debuff it again. I should probably have just been throwing Cross Poison after this. I'm not too sure why I'm trying to debuff this. I know I have to No Shield here, just because, I mean, Feather Dance doesn't do that much damage. And I'm actually able to reach a Cross Poison. But since I've been debuffed, it really doesn't do that much damage. And I really didn't want to shield against Pidgeot because after getting hit with a Feather Dance, your attacks don't really do any damage anyway. And now I'm actually going to send out Skarmory, reveal the rest of my team. Just because I don't really... I know that if I send out Skarmory, I can build up a ton of energy and take next to no damage because this Pidgeot has had its attack debuffed. And the Feather Dance that it's definitely going to throw does... like no damage. So try to take that. I'm able to just switch out to Froslass right away, meet the Azumarill. My opponent switches out into Meganium, which it really, yeah, has no place to go on against this team, actually. Throw this Avalanche, survives it, and I'm able to Powder Snow down right before he reaches his Frenzy Plant. Now just Froslass into Azu. I still have 2 shields, but I want to no-shield this one. It was coming out a little early. I didn't remember the counts, but just felt early and was, in fact, just the Ice Beam. So, gonna throw this Shadow Ball. And now I'm throwing this Avalanche because, I don't know, there's not really any reason. I thought he was just about to reach another Ice Beam, and I didn't really feel like shielding. Switch out to Skarmory to catch the Ice Beam. No real need to do that, and no need to shield here either. And just throw the Brave Bird, and yeah, take out this Azu. Alright. 2 shield flex. In retrospect, I don't think I should recommend that team. It is triple weak to fire, and I think a Bastiodon would probably sweep it also. I don't know what I was thinking when I built that team. Like, it worked out fine, and it was a lot of fun to play, but don't run that team. Run this team instead. This is the team that I've decided I'm probably going to run for a while. Opening with Shadow Golbat. Again, it's just because Poison Fang has been buffed, and, you know, now that Golbat is a debuffer, it just feels a lot stronger. So I take that first Weather Ball and switch out to my Politoed to catch the other one. He had built up to 8, and when he threw the Weather Ball, I figured this was probably going to be back-to-back. And, yeah, my opponent responds by sending out a Survivor, which is really, really strong counter to Politoed. I'm just going to go straight Blizzard. I at least want to get a shield because I know I'm going to end up having to give some of those back. He's just going to farm me the entire way down. I waited until the very last minute to throw this Weather Ball to maybe give them some impetus to throw something just to clear out some of their energy. Unfortunately, they did not. And yeah, they even threw an extra Vine Whip against Golbat, and I was able to sneak in an extra Wing Attack, which allowed me to undertap to throw this Poison Fang. And yeah, since he's out of shields, he's going to go down with tons and tons of energy. I'm going to switch out again and try to catch the Weather Ball on this Scrafty. This is the Scrafty from the first couple of battles. Still running Acid Spray Foul Play. I don't know if that's really the best, the most sensible thing to run with it. But for now, at least while it's new and while it's interesting, I'm probably going to continue to run it in this way. But this is going to be my team for a couple of days. Or at least for a day, unless I start getting hard countered, and then, you know, I guess we'll change it up. There's going to be a lot of meta churn for the first couple of days. I would remind everyone that nothing that you do for the next few days matters at all. Not even a little. Like, you could lose all of your games for the first 3 days. It won't affect the amount of time it takes you to get to Legend if you get there. It won't affect where you end up, where your season high is. It won't even affect how fast you get to where your debut will end up being when they release the leaderboard after like 3 weeks or so, if it's anything. Oh my god, this game. Oh my gosh, this game. Did you guys see that? That was so terrible. I was so terrified that that Gardevoir was running Confusion because of all the poisons. I was like, you know what, this is probably Confusion. So I switched out to Scrafty to catch a Charm, and he switched in his Bastiodon to counter my Scrafty. Oh, it's the worst. Oh my gosh. Me and my opponent are playing so badly in this game. At least with like those decisions. I mean, look at that Charm chunk. But he switched in Bastiodon. And look at this Charm not chunking, and I switched out of that matchup. Oh man. Wow, that was brutal. But yeah, like I was saying, doesn't matter what you do for the next couple of days. You can kind of just chill, try out the new Pokemon, try out the new moves, can have a lot of fun with it in a consequence-free environment. Like, I'm trying out all of the new Mons, or at least I'm trying to try out all the new Mons, or most of the new Mons, just so that I can get a good feel for them. Like, you know, I didn't sit down and study the counts yet. I'll get to that, I guess, when it starts becoming a problem. But yeah, I just wanted to play out the new Pokemon, try out their new moves, try Poison because it's been buffed so much, and it's been a ton of fun just kind of experimenting. I'm getting to play it against every random thing, and yeah, feels fantastic. It's been a really fun couple of days. So, you know, if your team's not working, it's fine. Just try out some new teams. Just mess around. There's no reason to take it seriously for at least the first week. You can start worrying about climbing after that. But yeah. So I shield the first superpower, which is great. If he had Rock Slide baited me, I would have been pretty upset. But most Melmetal's in Great League carry Thunderbolt instead. So probably wasn't actually that much danger there. And I'm most likely to be able to get shields back because Flygon is pretty squishy. Get the shield there. It would have felt amazing if I had Acid Sprayed and gotten the shield, but like that didn't happen, and that's fine. Just going to throw this Foul Play, just looking for some consistent damage here because I am trying to at least play through this part of my team seriously because this is the team I've decided I'm probably going to run for a while, so definitely trying to make it work where I can. And there's a Marowak back there, and I needlessly am baiting with a Poison Fang. Absolutely no need to do that. Could have just double Shadow Balled, have a shield left also. Would have, you know, all I did there was give him something that looked like a win condition, but I mean, I have Politoed left over in the back, so actually nothing would have mattered. And yeah, managed to take that game. All right, next up against Pokenasu. Golbat into Tentacruel. So this is another matchup that I don't play amazingly. Poison Jab has been buffed, so Tentacruel is probably a ton of fun to play. It also has Acid Spray, so actually, yeah, Tentacruel. Another poison type that is just full of the new debuffing moves. Actually, thinking about it, like it didn't occur to me just now, but I played Quillfish in some of my earlier sets, and Tentacruel is probably a direct upgrade to Quillfish for the most part. The only thing that it really lacks is, you know, Aqua Tail, a good, inexpensive water move. It only has like nukes now and Acid Spray. So Acid Spray, Hydro Pump, and Hydro Pump is so expensive. Managed to switch into Scrafty to catch this double resisted Foul Play, which is fantastic. There's Meganium left over in the back. So between Golbat and Scrafty, I'm going to be able to take this team like this. I'm just going to go straight Acid Spray against this Meganium. Now my counters are doing more. This is another one of those situations where having Power Up Punch might have been the more sensible thing to have. I throw this Acid Spray as soon as I have it because I want to at least force the shield. Like, this would do enough damage to take him out. And if he wants to get another Frenzy Plant out, which would force my last shield, I at least want to get that shield from them first. So I do that, shield the Frenzy Plant. And yeah, now I'm just gonna start debuffing this this Umbreon. Scrafty here is not quite in last resort range, and again, double resisting dark. The snarls are doing nothing. So yeah, survived that last resort, no problem. I'm just going straight mass acid spray. Debuffing again. I don't get the last shield, but that's okay. Just gonna counter down. Nice to take that game. GG. Acid spray is probably not the most recommended move for Scrafty, but it is fun. Especially now while it's new. Alright. So, Golbat into Medicham. This is a mostly positive matchup for Golbat. I mean, if they were to bait Power a Punch and land a Psychic, they could obviously take me out. Since they're going straight Ice Punch, I'm just going to no-shield that. And now I'm going to switch out to Scrafty to catch this Rock Slide from this G-Fisk. Scrafty very strong against G-Fisk, but without Power Up Punch, I can't really like ramp up my attack the way I would like to, so I'm actually kind of stuck just no-shielding this Earthquake also, and just gonna have to throw Foul Play. I needed to throw one more counter so I'd be able to throw a Foul Play against the Medicham also, so this is a mistake on me, threw this Foul Play a little bit too early. Medicham comes out and one counter takes Scrafty out. I really thought I would survive the one counter. Bringing my Golbat out against this Medi, and I'm gonna go straight Shadow Ball. Not wanting them to no-shield a Poison Sting and then switch out right away. Opponent swaps out to Bastiodon, and I have the alignment I need in Politoed. Shadow Toad gonna throw this Weather Ball. Super effective and I'm Shadow, but doesn't do that much damage because Basti is just that thick. Thankfully that my Mud Shots are also double super effective. So I'm gonna build up extra energy. I'm gonna throw this Weather Ball. I'm gonna undercharge a tiny bit to try to get like just a few extra Mud Shots in just to get me that much closer to Blizzard. And yeah, able to reach that. Just one more Mud Shot and I get to my Blizzard. I'm just gonna go straight Blizzard because I know this Medicham is gonna want to save shields for Golbat. Would have been totally fine to go double Weather Ball also. I had only win conditions there. Alright. Golbat into Deoxys Defense. So I wasn't really that familiar with this matchup because, you know, trying out new Pokemon. I ended up throwing this Poison Fang here because I figured they would expect me to go straight Shadow Ball. But yeah, they actually end up no-shielding this Poison Fang, which does not feel great. I mean, it still does pretty decent damage and, you know, drops its defense. Gonna throw this second Poison Fang, but my Deoxys is gonna reach the next Rock Slide before I'm able to Wing Attack down. So I switch out to Scrafty to try to catch it. And my opponent builds up extra energy first before throwing the Rock Slide. Probably should have banked it and left. He's probably got Psycho Boost Rock Slide. Switches in Meganium, and that's fine with me. Even if I let Scrafty go down here, because that Deoxys is pretty much energy drained, I'll have, you know, I'll be able to Wing Attack down this Meganium. And, you know, if I have to eat a Frenzy Plant, that is fine, because Golbat double resists grass anyway. So, I'm going to survive that. Does not do that much damage. And yeah, I mean, I'm down a shield, but I am built up to a Shadow Ball. My opponent sends out an Altaria, which is... Honestly, Golbat actually... Altaria in the lead against Golbat, you can literally go straight Poison Fang, and I think you win the 1-1, and, you know, therefore also the 2-2. Just because, you know, dropping their defense so much, the Wing Attacks and the Poison Fang start to do so much damage. I managed to get 2 shields off the Altaria instead, so I'm just going to swap out to Politoed. I know they're going to try to catch my Blizzard, so I don't throw it right away, just Mud Shot down the Deoxys, and yeah, now I'm going to throw this Blizzard and take out the Altaria. GG. Alright, is that it? Oh, that's it. I guess we're done. Oh, okay. Never mind. We're not. But you know what? I'm going to start wrapping anyway because this video is kind of long. So, yeah. A lot of new moves added to these Pokemon. I highly recommend you try them out. Like, even if you end up finding something that isn't really working that well, to reiterate, it doesn't matter. And it's just been tons of fun to play with poison moves and mass debuff teams. I'm sure it's very frustrating for other people to play against mass debuff teams because, you know, it makes switching out really hard. But now you're managing your debuffs, you're managing your energy. It feels like there's a lot of room to, you know, to make really good plays here. I have found that a lot of my teams end up being kind of weak to Stunfisk, and I'm noticing that Stunfisk is really, really popular. So, you know, if you're going Mass Poison, make sure that you have like a good Stunfisk counter in there, because, yeah, there have been a lot of those, and that has been one of the challenging brick walls to Mass Poison. But, yeah. Huh. You know what? I probably shouldn't have started wrapping this video during the start of this video. I should have at least waited until I was done. Oh well. You know what? I'll just jump back into commentary. This Abomasnow has a ton of energy, so I'm going to send out Golbat and just try to sneak in a wing attack. Because I snuck in that wing attack, I can shield this move. Like, otherwise, it would make sense to just let it go. But it actually feints him with all of that energy, so I kind of, you know, I save a shield anyway by spending that shield, because I would have had to shield Politoed against it either way. And yeah, now Stunfisk comes out, and I'm just gonna mudshot this thing down. Boy, I hope this isn't the last video, because then I have to wrap up immediately after I stopped wrapping. And we're too far into the video for me to re-record. There's just no way. Is that it? That's it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to do the things you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. Sorry this is so bad. I'll try harder next time. Catch you guys on the next one.